All right, Miss Laredo again here with you. I'm going to go over the gradebook in Schoology. A couple things to know about gradebooks real quick is that Teacher Access Center, where you put in all of your formal grades, and that's where all of the grades get pulled from for progress reports and report cards. That's our official gradebook, and that is what is most important. But there has been an issue that I've noticed with students who are viewing their Schoology gradebook, and the Schoology gradebook does not calculate grades the same way as Home Access Center or what we call TAC, Teacher Access Center. It's going to calculate the grades a lot differently. So students look at their grades in Schoology and they see, oh, I'm passing, I'm fine. But really they're not passing because of the way that Schoology calculates the grades in the gradebook. Now, there are two ways that you can fix this issue. So, and how you answer the next couple questions will tell you how you should fix the issue on your end. Now, for me, the only grades that I input anywhere, whether it be in Schoology or in Teacher Access Center, are the grades that are actually going into Teacher Access Center. So there are no extra grades in Schoology for my students that I'm not putting in Teacher Access Center. So the way that I fixed it is that I went to grade setup, which I'll show you in a second, and set it up to where Schoology will calculate the grades correctly for students. So that way it's the same in Schoology as it is in Teacher Access Center or Home Access Center. Now, I know a lot of teachers are putting a lot more grades in Schoology, but they're not putting all of those grades in Home Access Center / Teacher Access Center. So my suggestion for you would be that you actually hide the Schoology gradebook. And it won't hide the whole gradebook. They'll still be able to see all their individual assignments. They're just not going to be able to see their average because that's not going to calculate correctly anyway. And you don't want students getting confused, thinking, I'm passing in Schoology, why am I not passing here? Or they're only checking Schoology. So then it's a surprise to them when they find out that they're failing when the progress report comes out. So I'm going to show you how to do all of these things. Everything that I just talked about is under grade setup. So you're going to go to grade setup, and here there are two things, well, more than two things, a few things that you need to do. So here under category, I have daily right here. I'm also going to add a category for major. All right, now I'm going to weight these. Our daily grades are worth 40% of a student's grade, and their major grade is worth 60% of a grade. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click Save Changes. So this is what you need to do if you want your Schoology gradebook to look exactly like the gradebook that we see in TAC. Now, this is only going to work if the only things that you are grading in Schoology are all, if they're all going into Teacher Access Center as well. If you have any extra grades in Schoology that you're not transferring to Teacher Access Center, then this is not going to work. It's still not going to calculate correctly because you have more grades in Schoology than you do in TAC. So what I would suggest for you is that you come down here and you go to visibility settings, and you're going to click on both of these, hide overall grade and hide grading period grades, and hit Save Changes. All right, so once you go to the gradebook, now that I've hidden those two things, you'll see that they're actually grayed out. These columns are grayed out. That means that they cannot see these at all. And actually, it looks like, see, it says students will not see calculated grades in their student reports. For some reason, it's not graying out this one, so I'll have to go back and do that again. But anyway, so it'll tell you that students cannot see it, but they can still see their grades for all the individual assignments you've given them so that they can still know where they're at with each individual assignment. Something else that you can do is you go here. Okay, I've skipped something. Schoology, a big reason why Schoology does not calculate grades the same way as TAC is because Schoology reads any missing work. Actually, it doesn't read it at all. It does not take that into consideration when it is calculating the grades for the average. It's like it ignores it. Whereas in a teacher access center, home access center, if there is an empty grade, like you haven't put a number in there at all, then it reads it as a 0. So in order to make Schoology show that something is missing, there's a few things you can do. You can actually click on the cell and type in a 0 for it. That's not the way that I would do it, because then you're not going to get notifications for when something changes. The way I've been doing it, whew, lots of thunder. The way I've been doing it is I go in here and there's a few different things. You can mark a cell as excuse, which this literally means excuse, like a student doesn't have to do it. So if you're wanting to excuse work, that's where you go for that. So like if a student has transferred from one course to another, maybe this would be a good place to use excused. But what I've been using is missing. So excused and incomplete, it's going to ignore the cell. If you want the cell to read as a 0 and negatively affect their grade, then you need to mark it as missing. So once you mark it as missing, all of the empty cells are going to be marked with, and I can't show you how this looks in real time because privacy issues. I can't show you in an actual grade book that I'm using in one of my real courses, but it'll show up with a little like orange circle right here, and that shows you that it's incomplete. So once you have all of your grades in and you've marked things as missing, when you do mark things as missing, it's actually going to remove that from the students' past due notifications. They're no longer going to see in their stream that they have something that's past due. They're going to see it as missing instead of past due. So you have to kind of figure out what you want Schoology to tell the student. Do you want them to see that it's missing? Or do you want them to see the past due notification? Because you can't have both. And then to remove the missing right here, once you mark it as missing, you cannot type in the box. You can't overwrite it. So you have to remove the missing flag on it. So again, you would see a little orange circle right here that shows that it's missing, and you would click on that, and a little pop-up box comes down, and you're just going to uncheck the missing flag, and then you can update their assignment. Okay. All right, the last thing I want to talk about as far as grading in Schoology goes, there's a few different ways that you can address grading. In another video, Ms. Kress shared with us how you can look at grades straight from your course dashboard. So when you click on this Aldian Independent School District, it goes to course dashboard. And you'll see here reminders. I have 100 ungraded assignment submissions and 3 resubmitted assignments. So that's, I graded something, probably they got a 0 for something because I couldn't actually access what they submitted. I couldn't open it for some reason, so now they've resubmitted it. I can go here to 100 ungraded assignment submissions, and this drop down comes down here. So this saves me a lot of clicks. If I click here, it takes me straight to the assignment for this class, and I can grade these 14 assignments rather than having to go into the class, find the assignment, then go into the grade book. So this just saves you a few clicks. But another way that you can grade something, so say you're nearing the end of a grading period and you've graded most everything, you've marked things as missing that haven't been turned in, and you're wanting to go in and check to make sure to see if any students resubmitted something or submitted a new assignment, because sometimes Schoology won't give you the reminders. It's not always good about doing that. So there have been a few times where I've noticed that a student submitted something late or they resubmitted it. I never got a notification, so I didn't grade it. So what you can do is if you go into the grade book for the course, and again, this is just my conference course, there's no real students in here, so it's not going to look the same as it will on your end when you're looking at a live grade book. But when you go in into each cell, you're going to see a few different things in the cell. If it is a completely empty cell, then there's nothing to worry about. If you have an empty cell and you have a little blue box up here, but there's no grade in the cell, that means a student has submitted something, but you haven't graded it yet. So I like to go into the gradebook and Schoology for myself so that I can see those cells so I can make sure that everything has been graded. And the last thing that I have started doing for students to ensure that they are aware of their own grades is that each week, at the beginning of the week, I have students complete a progress report grade reflection. So this is just a quick assessment that I make in Schoology, and we'll preview it real quick. Where students have to answer these few questions. My current grade is a 100. I received a 0 on 0 assignments. I have completed and have a grade for the following assignments. So these are the assignments that they should have completed for the first grading period that are all in Teacher Access Center. So they go through and they check off that they completed all of these assignments and that they've ensured that they have a grade for them. Now, I don't ever actually go in and look at this after a student has completed it. This is just for students for their own self-reflection, and so that I can ensure that they know where they stand in my class. Because that's been a big issue for me, is getting students to take the time out of their days to look at their grades and to make sure that they're not missing anything. So that's all I've got for you guys on the gradebook. I know this video went a bit longer than most of my other videos, so I apologize for that, but hopefully this was helpful for you.